Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Why so happy? Unfortunately, because I was right again. And I tell you, I'm happy that my predictions come true, but usually the predictions are bad and have a bad outcome for us. But maybe the outcome will help us restructure, re-envision, replan based on the failure. That's the whole point. You try something, you fail, you look at it, reanalyze, regroup, retrain, and then go again and try again. Now, if you just lay down and cry and die, then you are weak and you deserve that outcome. So what's going on here? We are talking about Trump's bluff and how should I put it? The United States is facing reality, which is limitations. You know, people tell us all the time, if we want, we do this, everybody's going to listen to us, we smack everybody around. That is what you think you can do. What you really can do is when you get inside the arena. I said this many, many times. When you get in the arena, you test yourself in real situations. United States of America jumped on the tariff challenge with the entire globe. It realized quickly that it got some opposition and it showed its limitation. When you jump to fight 180 countries with the tariffs, and then you immediately half of them are challenging you, you realize you can't beat half of them. Right? Or 90 you can't. So what do? You eliminate 89 and you remain with only one, which is China. That means it shows you your limitation. The delusion was, I'm going to impose tariffs on all of you, God damn it. And then the guy said, yeah. Some people said, yeah, okay. And some people said, no. Some countries said, okay, bring it on. Unexpectedly, let's look over our paper. Oh my God, we can't fight these guys. So how about we drop from 180? We're going to postpone it for good reasons, for empathetic reasons, for compassionate. We're compassionate. From 180, we're going to drop it to one country. So the United States of America already came from the delusional bluff to reality. We can't fight them. We barely fight one country, which is China. And as I said before, United States has everything to lose. China has nothing to lose if it loses. So if China loses the tariff war, economic war against United States of America, yeah, everybody knew United States of America is tougher than us. But if United States of America loses this or gets to like a draw, it falls from its grace to reality. You can't beat even China. I'm not saying even like China is the last one, but from 180 delusion, you drop to one and you lose, or it's a draw. And I said United States of America will not win the tariff war bluff against China. And this is my evidence again. So I made some videos regarding that, and I'm going to go over the videos first. Right here, Trump lost tariff war against China. He backs down. All right, I said this one, US war started. And all this, you can go, I made many videos lately on the tariffs. And this is today's article that confirms that. USA Today. President Trump says tariffs on China will come down substantially. So that means from whatever it was, 145, in one of the videos, the Americans, US knew 245 tariffs on China. So it was 245 on some goods. They now say, oh, it's only 145 tariffs he imposed on Chinese imports will eventually come down substantially. Substantially means a lot, as he expressed optimism about future talks to reach a US-China trade deal. You lost. We lost. That's good. That's bad that we lost, but it's good that we see our limits. But why do we see our limits? Because we're weaker than we were probably before. Not probably, certainly before. So that's good. Now we restructure, we replan, we calculate where we're good, where we're bad, in a realistic way, not in a delusional. We are exceptional. Why? I don't know, but we are. That's the attitude. I identify as exceptional. Our Greco-Roman civilization doesn't function like that. No, it is based on facts, evidence, not on I identify as. Anybody, I identify as the best. China says, no, I identify as best. No, Russia says, I identify the best. How do you figure out who actually is the best? Well, let's see, let's fight. What rules are over there? These are the rules. Let's see who's the best. No, only I identify. No, only I identify. No, only I identify. That is the self-identification. So let's see what's going on here. Next one. CNN, Trump says China's tariffs will come substantially, hinting at potential U-turn. Now this U-turn is not because Trump is compassionate and he said, okay, I can hear the Chinese people crying over there in Shanghai right now. Over there, okay, in Beijing as well. I am a good-hearted person. Kids, I showed you who's boss. Now I come back and say, if you misbehave again, I will impose sanctions on you. It's not because of that. The Chinese did more than that. The Chinese did this. I made videos on that. Stopped selling rare earth minerals. That's it. We're not, I think about 14. They say we're not going to sell it anymore. China has 90% of those minerals. 90. There was one. Then the Chinese said, we're not going to buy American oil. We're going to buy Canadian oil. Dropped 90% of the imports from America dropped, and they buy Canadian. And I said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to drop entirely the liquefied natural gas import from USA. And while we are at it, we're going to sanction some politicians from America, some NGO leaders, some officials, some lawmakers. And on top of that, let me show you what China did the last thing. I don't know if China, is like the so-called bears, or the animal, the bear. When they taste human flesh, they would crave human flesh instead of berries and other shit. So I don't know if China right now tasted that blood. The United States of America is rope-a-doping like Muhammad Ali in 74 in Kinshasa, right? I don't think, but look what they do. They continue. They don't let it go. Here it is. Reuters, China asks Korea, South Korea, not North Korea, that's America's vassal, South Korea, not to supply products using rare earths to US defense firms. Asks, that's nicely put by Reuters. Probably they threaten them, and I'm going to show you how they ask. Beijing recently asked South Korean companies not to ship products containing China's rare earth minerals to US defense firms, the Korean Economic Daily reported on Tuesday, citing government and company sources. That's a war. The report has initially said China's Ministry of Commerce warned Korean companies they could face sanctions, retaliatory, blackmail, like the Americans, if they violated the export restrictions. The ministry delivered the message in letters to Korean companies which make power transformers, batteries, displays, electric vehicles, aerospace, and medical equipment, the report said. Technology, right? The Korean Economic Daily report was later corrected to the Chinese government delivering the message, not the Chinese, Chinese Ministry of Commerce. No. They dropped it to Chinese government delivering the message rather than the Commerce Ministry. So, South Korea's industry ministry said on Wednesday it was checking with the Chinese government and South Korean companies in order to confirm the report. And what's going on here? Early this month, China placed export restrictions on rare earth elements as part of its sweeping response to U.S. tariffs, restricting the supply of minerals used to make weapons, electronics, and a range of consumer goods. Exporters must now apply to the Ministry of Commerce for licenses. China produces 90% of the world's rare earth, a group of 17 elements. The U.S. government has stockpiles of some rare earths, but not enough to supply its defense contractors in perpetuity. perpetuity. What they say? You remember the Ukraine war? I said when the Russians are gonna hit a little bit hurt the three profiteers of war, the guys behind all this, which is the international financial system, banks, military industrial complex, defense contractors, and the energy industry, they will win. Once they're going to touch these guys, not militarily, not the Ukrainians, hit them over there, and China hit them right there. Read this. Defense contractors, that is military industrial complex. Rare earths, what does that mean? That means exactly the energy industry, including the oil and liquefied natural gas. So the Chinese go straight to the jugular. They don't go to the balls or anything like that. They're better than that. So South Korea said in early April it had more than 6 months of stockpiles of some of the 7 rare earths restricted by China, including found in the clean energy, fuck that, sector, including electric vehicles and wind turbines. Senior South Korean government officials are set to meet their U.S. counterparts in Washington on Thursday to discuss tariffs. So they're gonna cry to daddy, right? China on Monday warned countries against striking a broader economic deal with the U.S. and at its expenses. So China learned from the master, which is the United States of America. Blackmail, threats. The bear got a taste of human flesh. In this case, U.S. blood. I am in the U.S. So do I like it? I don't like it. But something these guys did wrong. What exactly? I think they overdid it. You know, the Chinese, or China, Russia, these are not countries that you can just push around like Albania or Romania or Hungary or something. These are strong countries with big, huge potential. Not only military, economic, manpower and resources. So they have the cards that Trump has some cards too. But you can push them around. The problem is, if you want to fight someone that potentially can hurt you, and the person says, you know what, let's talk. Okay, I give you are tougher than I. Let's don't fight. Let's reach a common line, denominator, how you want to call it. Middle path. And the other guy says, no, I will humiliate you. Then these guys who have pride, China has pride, Russia has pride, why should they? They say, you know what, you really want to fight? Okay, I will lose some, you're going to lose some. Let's fight. And then during the fight, you realize that actually you can beat the guy. Then you won't let go. You go like, no. You won't let go. That's exactly what I see China right now. China said, no, United States of America is on the run. And that is based on the first article right here. President Donald Trump says tariffs on China will come down substantially, not because he's a good-hearted, but because potential U-turn. Why? He got beaten. And let's see if the Chinese would allow the Americans to save face, or they will humiliate the United States of America. Because Trump, instead of saying, all right, let's talk, he was like, no, I'm going to make you. I'm going to show these bastards. I'm going to show who you are. And the other guy said, all right, you're losing in Ukraine against the Russians. How about you lose against us economically? Do I like that? No. But in one, I mean, it's good because we see our limitations. The problem is the whole world sees it. And the Chinese are acting the same way the Americans act. So I heard some Chinese friends in some conversation, China would not do this. China, yes, because China is made out of human beings and we act the same way with different deviations. When someone wants to grab me by the balls, I mean, depends whom, obviously, I want to smack that person, right? We all do this. If we're weak, we deserve to be smacked and grabbed by the balls and squeezed because we're weak. Right? But China is not weak. So then they will react exactly how I said. They will fight back with the same weapons. Why? They're human beings. The problem is, and I will say it again, if you look in China's history versus some European countries, including the United States of America, China has big historical frustrations. Why? Not only against Japan, okay, but about the United States of America. Remember the end of 19th century, beginning of 20th century, these guys took over China, raped China, Remember, China had Mongols. I know how many dynasties over there. I mean, 700 years were under the Mongol dynasty. So they were, I would feel very infuriated as a Romanian if I would think that the Hungarians have been ruling over me for 700 years, but I'm 10 times bigger than the other guys, in this case of Europeans. And then when I get the power, what do you think, when I get stronger, what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to smack those guys as they have never been smacked before. So I don't know if this is the beginning of the payback that China, with its frustration against some Europeans and the United States of America, will start implementing. I always said China plays nicely, smiles and so on, but I think it's a big something inside that once they get it, they will act the same way. And there you go. Sanctions, I'm threatening you, I'm warning you, the same as the Americans. Didn't China say stop blackmailing? You do the same thing. So my Chinese friends, a few that I have over there, you are the same with a different flavor. Thank you very much for being with me again today. United States of America, again, the bluff is gone. As I said, I analyzed it, and I reached the conclusion United States of America cannot win. It doesn't have the manufacturing. If China tomorrow says, we're not going to give you anything, and the United States of America will say, we're not going to give you anything, we die like pests in about 2 weeks. They don't. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Maybe they will not have, I know, the Bentleys or whatever. Bentley is not American, is it? But let's go with Fords or GM or something, cars over there, or who knows what computers they will not have over there. But they will have food, they will have medication. We will have the computers, but we will not have food. So who's dying first? Basic needs versus wants. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.